Hey, what's going on, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about this extremely powerful upcoming eclipse we have on May 26th, 2021. Number 1, I wrote down major vibrational upgrade, which sounds somewhat spiritual and abstract and metaphysical, but in this case, with this eclipse, it's now getting physical. It's now getting real. Your vibrational upgrade is going to start, and may have already started, to be reflected, mirrored in your physical life, your living situation, your career, your day-to-day reality is going to start reflecting all the inner vibrational changes and shadow work and purging and releasing that you've been doing all year, basically. A lot of us have been sensing an impending change. And that word change will mean something different for all of you, but the degree of change is significant. It'll be very meaningful to you. Maybe your career, maybe your some of the key relationships in your life are going through some shifts. For me, it's my living situation, literally. I've been going through a lot of inner changes, as I've sort of discussed in my content over the past several months. And it's now finally culminating with us, my family and I, my wife and I, and my 3 children moving here to beautiful Sedona. And we're coming from Las Vegas. Now, we don't live right next to the Strip. We don't go to the casinos, but still, there's quite a contrast, as you might imagine. Sedona is a small town, extremely an abnormally high vibration, which sounds great, but it requires aligning your entire life with that, which means less stimulation, less electronics, less 3D matrixy type of behaviors. They will not work here. And we've been gearing up for this move for quite some time, and now it's time. Now we're doing it. Now we're in it. So what are you in? What are you waiting to sign off on to really make the changes you've been sensing into for quite some time become real and become physical? Because now is a great time to make that commitment to yourself, to this new chapter that's attempting to be birthed in your life, which I know can be quite scary. It's been very scary for me. Now, why would you be scared moving to Sedona? I wonder, can I handle it? Can I really live this new way? Not watching TV at night, spending more time in nature, which implies spending more time with myself, which implies spending more time with my shadow. Is it the right move for myself, for my family? All these sort of things, because of how serious of a decision it is, have been playing in my mind for quite a while now. But now it's time. We've made the choice and we're grounding in. And you will probably find yourself doing some variation of that in some significant key area of your life in your own way. Number 2, awakening the artist within. I have a great friend. She's an artist. Her name is Dana. And she has this theory. She has this belief, this knowing that every single human being on this planet is an artist. She says everything you do is an expression. From the way you do your hair, the way you dress, the things you do, the songs you sing, metaphorically speaking, it's all art. And the beautiful thing about moving into these higher vibrational situations, these life vibrational upgrades, one of the key, beautiful, rewarding, and exciting benefits is you get to uncover deeper layers of your soul, of your raw, pure, uninfluenced, creative energy, in whatever way it resonates with you, will be more accessible So you might find yourself just longing to and finding ways of expressing yourself. And this could be for like a career, if you're doing YouTube like me or something, or it could be like what I'm doing right now. As I mentioned, we're moving to Sedona. We're making these big lifestyle changes, okay? One of them is we don't watch TV at night anymore. I'm not against it. We were watching Marvel movies like every night for a long time. I'm a big Marvel fan. I'm gonna miss them on some occasions. But anyway, the first couple nights watching these, doing nothing at night, we were kind of bored and restless, and we were kind of forcing it, knowing we need to make some changes. But after a couple nights, what happened is I felt all this freedom. Like my mind finally had time to handle all the different things going on in my life. And I was able to kind of sort through things just sort of naturally, just sitting there doing not much of anything. I have my journal, my wife plays the singing bowl, my daughter plays the guitar, the boys sleep on the couch, And anyway, beyond that, what started to happen is this remembrance. For me, it was a remembrance that I love to draw. When I was a little kid, like between 7 years old and 15, one of the things I would do to deal with life or to escape or just to find joy, I would play rock and roll music in my room, normally Guns N' Roses, and I would draw. And when I would draw, I was pretty good. I'm not gonna be promoting my drawings or anything, but I'm pretty decent. But anyway, when I would draw, the state of being I would get into was that of a pure artist. I would get lost in time. Time would disappear. It was me, the music, and just the flow of art flowing through me. And there is such a welcomed, pure and authentic and comfortable state of being. So anyway, right now with this powerful eclipse coming online, it's an amazing time to really push through any of those artist blocks you might have carried throughout your life and really just go for it in whatever way seems fun and pure and exciting to you. It'll add a new depth and dimension of joy and happiness and contentment and fulfillment to your life, whether it's a career, whether it's just like me, drawing at night with my daughter. Number 3, for a lot of you, this guy included, it's time to give it your all. You know what I mean by that. What have you been sensing into that you haven't quite committed to just yet? A new purpose, a new area of focus, a new area of study. There's something. There's a deeper part of your soul out there in the future that's been calling to you, saying it's time to start on this new path, even though it might be unfamiliar, even though you might feel inexperienced, and even though you got all this other stuff going on. A lot of us, we wait. We wait for the stars to align, the downloads to stream through our consciousness effortlessly before we start. And it doesn't work that way. It starts with you. It starts with me. We have to meet the universe halfway. Then the muse shows up. Then the inspirations come. Then the clarity comes from that experience. But it's a great time to really give it your all and go all in, because the results will reflect the degree of effort you're putting in. And I'm preaching not to you, I'm preaching to myself. How many of you have heard me discuss, I'm writing a book. I feel guided to write a book. Well, guess what? It's coming along a little bit, but I realized I really have to give it my all. For a while, as an example, I was making myself write, but I was making myself write after doing a couple hours of computer work all day. So even though I wrote, it wasn't good. And that's not me being hypercritical, that's me recognizing this is an example, a reflection of the sort of half-assed effort I've put in. So now I clear the morning, I meditate, I go into the mountains, deep into the mountains where no one can see me, just me and the birds and nature and trees and that beautiful expansive vibe, and I let it fill me up. And then as best I can, I pour my heart out and I write. And oftentimes I'll prepare what I'm gonna write the day or two before, so I'm prepared, I'm not just winging it. And now, finally, as I committed to it fully cleared my schedule, given myself the time, the space, made sure I have enough energy for it, it's coming through, finally. And oh man, it feels so good. I don't even care if the book's good. I don't care what it is. It just feels right. It feels good. So a lot of you can, I suspect, know exactly what I'm saying. There's something you have been waiting to start, something you know you will one day be doing. Well, my friend, there's never a better time than these powerful eclipse, forward moving energies to finally commit and go all in. And it's all working out in beautiful timing because you're already stepping into a newer, higher frequency situation. The inner artist is awakening. It's time where if you just put forth your 3D human ordinary effort in conjunction with those other things, you'll be shocked at what magic pours through you in whatever it is you feel excited to embark on. Number 4. Something we all need to hear. 3 words. No more shame. No more setting the bar unrealistically high for yourself. Time to finally give yourself the compassion you deserve. The other day, recently, I was speaking with my friend Aaron Dowdy, and we sometimes get together with friends and drink San Pedro. It's like peyote, it's a cactus medicine, and it opens up your heart. It makes you very empathic, very perceptive, very in tune with yourself. We had this truly profound interaction between us, where me and him kind of just found ourselves alone, away from our friends. We just started talking. And I was able to see and literally feel, for the first time ever, his deepest, darkest wound that I could tell is underneath all of the different things he thinks about, all of the different, circumstances that cause him challenge and he's working through. It all stems from this one thing, this one pocket of energy that I was able to tap into. And I could feel it. And I looked at him and I saw just like an innocent little child who was wounded at some point in his life. And it absolutely broke my heart to see. And he's like, Vic, what are you thinking, bro? And I just told him. And it clicked with him. And I could tell it was helpful for him. And anyway, 5 minutes later, I kind of set myself up for this. He did the exact same thing to me. He was brought to tears when he could finally feel into my deepest, darkest wound, which for so many of us is sometime in our life, something happens where we're not loved as much as we think we need to be, or some need is not fulfilled. It doesn't take much for us to conclude there's something wrong with us. I must not be worthy of love, of success, of abundance, of freedom, of health. And anyway, it's like underneath all of our drama, underneath our different ways of egoically creating narratives and manifesting all these different karmic cycles, all of it stems from this innocent little child who just didn't know any better and suffered and drew some faulty conclusions that aren't true, of course. But that's what's driving a lot of us. And that's what a lot of this healing is leading into. I'm not there. I'm just sort of becoming aware of it myself. But in light of that, we're all little wounded inner little kids walking around through life in our adult suits, trying to find happiness as best we can with the information we've been given. And we're all the same. We're all in that same playing field. So why are we so hard on ourselves? Why do we give other people compassion and patience and tolerance and love and affection and attention and not ourselves? It's time. That inner artist within you needs nurturing. This next leg of your journey is going to require a lot of support, not from your spirit guides, not from the friends and family you may or may not have in your corner, but from you, And that's all you need. And the more you have compassion for yourself, the more you support yourself, the more it will be reflected in your life anyway. We're getting into this point where we really need to love ourselves more. And I just hope you can find it in yourself to see yourself more clearly and level the playing field and offer yourself the same courtesy and kindness and compassion that you offer to others, to yourself. And number 5, it's a phenomenal time to wake up and smell the roses. What I mean by that is that it's time to wake up to the blessings we already have in our lives. I wrote an email yesterday, in fact, that discussed how much of my spiritual awakening for a long time, many years, revolved around waiting, striving, and longing. For a time, I wasn't so Kundalini symptomatic. For a time, I didn't feel so alone. For a time, I felt free from these 3D burdens. For a time of peace and serenity and harmony that I sort of sensed was at the end of all this dark night of the soul type of drama. And eventually, as I just continued following my intuition as best I can, sometimes hesitant, most of the time hesitant, sometimes not so much, do my best, stumbling along the way, things started to shift. My life started to change. New friends and relationships started coming in. Soulmate friends, soulmate relationships, soulmates. More abundance, more freedom, more fun, more joy, more purpose, more passion. All the things I really, really wanted, and then some, started to come into my life. And you think that would be like, okay, Vic's made it. He's good. He should be grateful all the time. He should be happy all the time. But I found no matter what came into my life, and I'm not even talking just material things, because most of us know that's not going to fulfill us, even though we sometimes unconsciously try to make them fulfill us. I'm talking like real things came into my life. Purpose, people, you love. A lot of the things many of you are just waiting for. And I got it. I'm not bragging about it. What I'm trying to say is that even though I had all that, I found myself still waiting, striving, longing, thinking the grass is always greener on the other side. And realizing now that, man, happiness, joy, what I've been seeking is literally a state of being I can choose to tap into and conjure up in any given moment. But I find, because of just the way our monkey mind tends to work and the ego structure works, for me, it's like a daily practice. It takes a mindful, conceited effort to cultivate gratitude, joy, and appreciation, and happiness and love. But the cool thing is, and also the thing I'm kicking myself about, is you can do it anytime, anywhere, no matter what's going on. I could have been so much happier years and years and years ago. Who knows where I would have taken my life if I just chose to be happy in the moment. And this sounds like this far-fetched thing, but this eclipse energy, if you just sort of follow what I'm saying to some extent in your own way, I think you'll find you're able to become more happier at will by choosing to be grateful for the little things. The sound of flowing water. Oh, I'm so happy. And some of you say, oh, wow, Vic, you got it. It's easy for you. Well, one of the happiest times of my life was when I was 19 years old, living in a halfway home for recovering drug addicts. I was a mess, emotionally, psychologically, physically. I was a mess. I lived with 5 roommates, all guys that were always rotating because some of them would relapse and steal everyone's stuff from the house and go off on a bender. And I lived in this sort of crazy ass environment. And yet, I had a couple of friends I made, and I had my little bike. I'd ride to my valet job, and I'd go to the meetings, and just in this sort of ordinary, very, very, I was strapped for cash, very little money. I was so happy. I was so happy because I was working on myself. I was on my path. And even though I had so many challenges and growth things to work through, I was very, very happy. So you don't need a lot of stuff. You don't need a cool situation. It's just more of a state of mind that we can all choose to be grateful right here and right now.